here with with the leadership of the House of Assembly. We are here to present to you the bills passed in the last few weeks for your assets. We have the bill for the establishment of flood erosion and watershed management agency. We have the bill, amendment bill for the harmonized provision of the retirement age of staff of Polytechnic and College of Education in 2021. We have bill to repeal the Edo State Private Property Protection Law 2017 and reenact the Edo State Private Property Protection Law 2021. And lastly, we have the bill for the establishment of the Edo State Public Building Maintenance Agency and other purposes connected therewith. They are all here for your accent, Your Excellency.
We once again are making history today. First, we are signing 4 laws at the same time. I cannot recall since I became governor when I was able to sign in one fell swoop 4 laws. And these are 4 important laws. It clearly demonstrates that the House of Assembly is living up to its expectations and has been quite diligent and rigorous in performing its constitutional responsibilities. We are very pleased that you have refused to be distracted and you are doing, much more than, we have seen accomplished in the previous parliaments. The laws which we have signed, the bills which we have signed into laws today, the laws we have also signed, are quite significant, all 4 of them, because they deal with very important issues that affect us in terms of governance. First, we know we're very concerned about the environment. We have been working with the World Bank on erosion control, and you know how much we have had to spend in terms of ameliorating the devastation caused by erosion menace and other environmental hazards. This law helps us institutionalize that process by making sure that as we move beyond the NUMA, the erosion control program, which was facilitated by the World Bank, we are now going to have our own institution that will help ameliorate the conditions that create these disasters. And so we're not going to have to, there are laws which now regulate communities and, on how to use land. And we have an agency that will now make sure that preemptive measures are taken, to avert this whole-scale environmental destructions as a result of erosion and flood control. I'm also glad that you have quickly facilitated to end the agitation of harmonizing the retirement age of polytechnics and other colleges of education retirement age. We've had this discrepancy. Many other states have been able to harmonize the retirement age and moved it from 60 to 65. I'm glad that you've heeded the calls of our citizens and you have now passed this into law, so we can now as a government give full effect to this law. We are grateful and thankful that you are now quickly responding to our needs to restructure government. One of the key restructurings we've undertaken, Mr. Speaker, as you know, is to move the whole issue of public buildings into one agency to help government in planning its own infrastructure needs for office spaces, and also to maintain its assets. Government is very quick to building assets, building buildings and other infrastructure, but there is no institutionalized means of maintaining them. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, this government has spent quite huge sums in building a lot of and renewing our infrastructure, like the Secretariat complex, the stadium, several mini stadia. We're building schools. These assets need to be maintained, and because we would not have the resources to continue to just build. And that is why it is important that we have this agency, and we are very glad and grateful to you that you have expedited taking expedited actions to make sure that this agency is backed by law. The Agency for Information has been doing amazing work. You can see that we've continued work in the Secretariat complex. We're completing Block B. We're going to complete Palm House and get that whole complex to work to help efficiently create an efficient environment for our staff to work. Mr. Speaker, I think one of the bills you have signed today affects law and order in Edo State, and we're very grateful, which is the amendment to the private property protection law, which you had gladly enacted for us in 2017. After utilizing that law for a few years, we saw that there were gaps and described earlier gaps which needed to be filled, and that is why we came to you for a reenactment and also to strengthen aspects of the law that were not covered. With this, we're not only banning community development associations, but all sorts of splinter groups like okaighele and all that, people who have come up in communities to forcefully take other people's landed property will now be dealt with squarely under this law. We have been waiting for this law so that we can reconstitute the Committee on Protection of Private Property. And now that we have this law, within the next fortnight, we'll be reconstituting the committee in accordance with this law. And we will be utilizing some of the more stringent measures which are now incorporated in this law to deal with, erring individuals or communities in the cases who are trying to dispossess innocent citizens of their property. Be rest assured, Mr. Speaker, that you have given us the tools to make sure that we have an ordered society, a society where people can live in peace, where people can make investments undeterred and afraid. With this law, as you say, the law is no respecter of persons. It doesn't matter who it is. Once you run foul of this law, we are setting up special courts to make sure that people who flout this law are adequately and swiftly dealt with. On that note, I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, and your members for, rather than enjoying your summer holidays, kept sleepless nights to make sure to help the state to continue to run. The rest, I want to make sure that we do not disappoint you. The produce of the outcome of your sleepless nights will translate into an ordered society where things are done according to the Constitution and the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, once again, I thank you very much and wish you Baraka de Salah.